Hey YouTube, Public Piper here, and today we're going to do something a little different. I'm not going to do a tobacco review, but I am going to invite you to come along and spend the day with me and a good old friend. You may have heard of him. It's old Joe Krantz. So I'm going to take a few pipes with me, and take a couple pinches of tobacco, and go out in the city and smoke a few bowls and kind of tell you what I think. And along the way, we are going to stop by a local pipe shop that I believe buffs stems for free. The reason I need that is I tried the OxyClean method on a few of my stems, and I'll just show you real quick. Even with the magic marker, all I could get was a real dull, kind of a matte finish. And here's what it's kind of supposed to look like. So that'll be our first stop, and then we'll be out in the city. So I kind of feel like Mr. Rogers doing this, but come along and we'll see you at the next stop. Okay, so we're going to the local pipe shop here. It's right around the corner. It's cold out here today, boys. It is chilly. Pipes by George. So here's the finished product, and it's a really good job. Got that black luster and shine back, so I'm pretty happy with it. So I thought I'd try another shot at my Boswell poker / nose warmer here. In a recent video I said I'm not really a big fan of this pipe, but I'm going to give it another shot. Now that it's cold outside, a shorter pipe may actually be better for lower condensation. When you smoke outside a lot, if you ever set your pipe down, because of the temperature change, it gets wet really quickly. This bowl of Old Joe Krantz is a lot more tame than the last couple I've had. The last couple have been just popping with flavor. Really spicy, really peppery. This one, maybe it's because I just ate, but it's a little tamed down, which is good. It could use that. Because it is a burley and it's not aged or fired or darkened in any way, you're not going to get tones of fruit or spice or anything. It is going to be kind of a pure tobacco taste, which is why a lot of us like it. The easiest thing to say about Old Joe Krantz is that peppery spiciness, but if you try to put that aside and really search and try to tease out some flavor, it's more difficult. We're just the first eighth of a bowl though, so I'm sure this will get a little deeper mid-bowl and then toward the end. Another advantage of these nose warmer pokers is that when you're freezing outside like I am, you can easily clench it and keep your hands in your pockets. I rarely ever clench, just because some of my pipes are heavier and longer, but it's kind of a nice discovery that this is ideal for wintertime.
Oh my god, I said I was the best one.
Still searching for the flavors, but about mid-bowl now. Get a little bit closer there. Still spicy, still peppery. Still good, but it's hard to put your finger on exactly what this tastes like. I'm going to keep searching then. So when you read the reviews online of Old Joe Krantz, people describe this as a Perique forward blend, and that's definitely where the spice is coming from. One of the funniest reviews I read online was they compared Old Joe Krantz versus another tobacco. I think it was just Virginias in general. And they said, if Virginias are a dinghy, then this is a battleship. So I'm getting down to the end of the bowl now, as you can see. And the burning characteristics are really great. It's very dry, it's very, burns down to a white ash. Probably due to the fact the way it's cut. If you can see that, it's cut very fine. And that really helps the burn. So that makes the first bowl for today. So I'm going to go to a new venue and try a different pipe and see how the second bowl goes. So I'm debating on whether to smoke this second bowl out of my Church Warden corn cob or this other neglected pipe that's kind of been collecting dust. Since I smoked the first bowl out of my nose warmer that I've also neglected, maybe I'll make today about neglected pipes. I think I'll use that one. All right, so here's the second bowl. This is the pipe I'm going to be smoking it out of. This is a Maro Armelini, kind of a cheap pipe. It's probably $40-$45. Kind of a small bowl as well. It's freaking freezing out here. Although nothing compared up north. It's still about 40 degrees. That's why no one else is sitting outside. But the review must go on. This does create a lot of smoke, especially the initial light. Another thing this reminds me of is Easter, for those of you who used to get Easter baskets, which it's been a while since I got one of those, and you see that package of the chocolate bunny in your Easter basket, and you think it's dense chocolate, and you go to bite into it, and it just caves in because you realize it's a hollow chocolate bunny. It's very similar to this. It packs a wallop up front, but it's kind of empty inside when you smoke it. Not in a bad way. It's just it gives you a tingling sensation on the tongue, and at the same time gives you a tingling sensation on the roof of your mouth. It's kind of like a porcupine. What you also feel is kind of a horseradishy vibe that you get in the nose, kind of like when you're eating wasabi or sushi. That even if you're not retrohaling or anything like that, you still feel a little bit of spiciness in the nasal cavity, which I think is relatively unique to this blend. It's not something I've experienced before. It's not so much of a burning sensation you get with wasabi, but it's very similar. So I think one thing this blend may be teaching me is exactly what Perique really is. I know this is a Perique forward blend, and so everything I'm really getting out of this, it may be just the Perique. And then the Burley is really just adding the smoking characteristics, the good smoking quality, the large volumes of smoke, the easy burn. But I don't think the Burley is adding a whole lot of flavor. Another thing this reminds me of is really good gas station coffee. We all had good coffee, we've all had bad coffee. And every once in a while you'll find a gas station that has kind of hard-hitting black coffee that it's not Starbucks, it's not some high-end coffee shop in Chicago type of flavor. But at the same time, it's definitely better than instant coffee. There's something you like about it that's kind of hard to put your finger on, but it gets the job done. And that's what I'd say about Old Joe Krantz. It gets the job done. There's some days and there's some times when I've had a bowl of something really flavorful, like a best brown, but and that's not a light blend by any means, but sometimes you're in the mood for something stronger. Sometimes you're in the mood for if you ever make coffee at home or you have a coffee pot in your office. I've worked at a lot of different places, and some people do a double batch, because they just want something harder hitting. That's what that's what Old Joe Krantz is to me.
Really like the blood orange Goza.
Oh yeah, the sour.
Did I let you try that, or
Yeah.
do you not like sours?
It doesn't mix well with this.
Yeah, I mean, what's your tobacco tasting like? Is it?
It's a hardcore burley, so it's like
Okay.
a double espresso of.
Oh, you want a
tobaccos.
dark beer then, man. You want to have
Maybe.
either there's a smoked porter that's actually pretty tasty. I'll bring a taste of it.
That's okay.
Or-
Is it a vanilla or is it just a smoked
It's
porter?
just a regular. You get smoky, and then I believe like charcoal on the back end.
I'll take that.
I'll let
10
you-
ounce.
10 ounce of that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm at the end of my second bowl, and this one was a little smoother than the first. Maybe because the second one is always smoother than the first, because you're getting used to it at that point. But this one definitely smokes down to a white ash. Again, probably because of the way that it's cut. But rarely do you come across a tobacco that does smoke down that fine. And I think this is the first one that's ever done that for me. So again, burning characteristics are fantastic. All right, so I'm going to try one more bowl out of a different pipe, probably my church warden. I'm going to try getting the sunlight though, because it is getting pretty cold out here. So we'll see how the third bowl goes. Okay, so I'm here at the third venue, and I've packed up my church warden. I recently reamed these. I realized they were getting really clogged, but now I got a pretty big hole there, aperture, and it smokes a lot better now. I'm not going to tell you how I reamed it. Actually, I will. I reamed it with a steak knife. I didn't think corn cobs actually develop cake, but apparently they do. I'd used this so much, the hole was really tiny. So it's pretty cold out here, but I'm gonna at least smoke the first half of this here. Maybe I'll try to find an indoor place later on. It's so cold, my lighter's not even working. So this city continues to make me smile. I was calling around trying to find places that had patios. So I called this place from the last location, and I asked them, do you have a back patio? And they're like, oh yeah, we have a really nice back patio. I get over here and I find out it's kind of a dive bar, and their patio kind of looks like, kind of reminds me of a prison yard. I'll show you here. Got the gated fence, the aluminum wall, but beggars can't be choosers, right? Much like a prison yard, there is some graffiti art on the wall that I'll show you here. Let's go check this out. This is pretty funny. Stop wearing khaki shorts. I couldn't have said it better myself. One of my favorite spots to shoot is actually right up here. That's the balcony I've shot at before. I feel like I'm in a different world right now, though. I'm so ticked at myself at the last place because I shut my camera off the moment the waiter came out and started asking me some questions about, what I was doing. Turns out he just got into pipe smoking too. He actually just got back from Italy. Bought his first pipe in Rome, out of all places. And he told me the name, but I don't remember what it was. And bought a pipe and bought one pouch of tobacco, his first one ever, never smoked before. And then he brought it back here and has been smoking it for like a week or two and asked me for a couple recommendations. So I gave him a few, but more importantly, I told him to just check out some YouTube videos, just search for top 10 pipe tobacco reviews, because everyone has their own opinion. It's a good way for somebody new to the community to, or new to pipe smoking, I should say, to get a list of everyone's top 10s, maybe write down a few, and just kind of hear for themselves firsthand from a bunch of different people, and that way they can make up their own decision. Like I was saying before, that burn in the nose is coming back again. Not bad, just a very noticeable, just full facial cavity spiciness. This also reminds me of the movie Witness with Harrison Ford. I think it was like 1985. And great movie, but at the very end, they trapped the bad guys in a corn silo on the Amish farm. And if you recall the scene, the guy's trapped in the silo and Harrison Ford is at the top, and he releases the lever that drops just tons of grain on the bad guy at the bottom, and it starts burying him from the waist up. And as it's coming down, he's struggling to breathe, and it's just all that corn is, it's getting in his mouth and in his nose, and he's just like hacking and coughing, trying to find clean air. And if that silo were filled with cayenne pepper as opposed to corn, that's kind of the feeling I get when I smoke this. It really permeates your entire facial cavity with pepperiness. When I think about it, just the fact that I can have 3 bowls of old Joe Krantz over the course of just a few hours, half a day, versus my experience with Burley Flake number 2, where I was really struggling to get through 1 big bowl over the course of a day. It really tells me just how more palatable this is than that. This is something that, although I'm talking a lot about spice and pepper, it's definitely smokable and it's definitely enjoyable and relatively easy to get through. So, could Old Joe Krantz be an all-day smoke? Well, this is my 3rd bowl, and it does burn very quickly. But I would definitely say yes. At least a half a day, if not all day smoke. So I had my reservations about recommending Old Joe Krantz to Jeremy Larson. I gave him 3 recommendations: Burley Flake number 3 from Cornell and Deal, Old Joe Krantz, and Wessex Burley Slice. And I know he started out with Wessex first, which is definitely going to be the easiest and most palatable of the 3 to try. But it's definitely going to be much smoother as a Burley than either this or Burley Flake number 3. But a good question is, do I think Old Joe Krantz has a place in most people's rotations, even if they're not really a Burley smoker? And originally I would say no, because it is so strong. But when I really think about it, over the course of today, being able to smoke 3 bowls and no tongue burn, no tongue bite, and I just compared that to last night when I tried something as subdued as McClellan's 2035 Navy Flake, which I'll try to put a picture in here if I can do it. I smoked that last night. I got through maybe a quarter of a bowl, and it wasn't harsh or anything, but it was very mellow. But I got tongue bite or tongue burn, and just had to put it down. There wasn't a lot of flavor there, and so strangely enough, I could smoke more Old Joe Krantz than I could a Navy Flake, which really surprised me. Usually, something darkened like that particular blend, you'd think that would be something you should be able to smoke forever. But not true in this case, or not true for me at least. All right, so this is my 3rd bowl of Old Joe Krantz. And the last bowl was very similar to the first 2. I've had it in 3 different pipes now over the course of, it's probably been about 5 hours. And to my surprise, my mouth is not tired, my tongue isn't burnt. I could probably do another bowl in a few hours from now. So for me, it actually might be an all-day smoke. The one thing I would say about it is, it's not a fancy tobacco. It's not trying to be something that it's not. It's not gonna surprise you with real deep, intense flavors, I don't think. But like I said before, it's gonna get the job done. And when you're in the mood for it, I think it's gonna reward you, especially for the price. This is a good deal. I'm gonna compare this to Haunted Bookshop here in a few days. And although this is a Perique forward one, I think Haunted Bookshop's a Burley forward one. And I definitely would say the Perique is dominating the flavor here. And over the course of the day, if that really is true, I think now I have an understanding of what Perique really is and what it adds to a tobacco. In this case, it probably dominates the blend, but I think that's his intention. Because Burley by itself, unless it's been aged or darkened or cured in a specific way, like for example, Wessex Burley Slice or Solani aged Burley Flake, unless it's been really conditioned, Burley's not going to have a lot of flavor. So, like Matches 860 had said in a previous video, Burley needs something. It needs to be mixed with Virginias, or in this case, Virginias and Perique, to really play a part of the role. It's never going to be able to do the whole role. So, overall, I would recommend Old Joe Krantz to anybody. That's why I bought 16 ounces of it, and it's been a good smoke all day long. So that's it for this segment. So thanks again to my subscribers, and I'll see you next time.